All right. Well, welcome everyone. I know the space isn't as large as it normally is, but that doesn't make a difference.
Mm.
We are going to move on, and people will come in as we go. Just be sure to retweet the spaces, every so often, so we can get some more people in here. Tonight we have Star Factor and K and J Robots joining us as their projects are both NFT projects, and we thought it was kind of a cool little twist on our live and in person where we normally have mainly crypto projects. Uh, Here we're going to be doing NFTs, so we're going to do some deep dives for both of these, find out a little bit more about them. I've heard both of them in spaces, and they have fantastic stories, so I'm kind of excited to hear it. Uh, what I will do here is so it takes a little bit of the pressure off you guys because it seems like you might be a little nervous about the little bit of a elevator pitch, but I'll go ahead and do a quick elevator pitch for Heroes NFTs. So Heroes is a charity focused token. 20% of our NFT sales goes to community driven charities. We did release our season one or series one NFTs, and they were completed by three separate artists. They are located in various places around the world, all very talented, created our 3D Series 1 NFTs. They are currently for sale on our OpenSea account, and you should check them out. The idea behind them is that they will be in-game playable NFTs when that game does come out. When you buy them, they do have lockable content. So when you unlock it, it'll display a little brief back history of the character itself, some of its special features, as well as the biography and social tags of the creator. We do have I'm going to stop there. So I can keep going. I was about to go, into my deep dive, but yeah. So it just short and brief. Um,
All right.
all right. So who would like to go next?
I'll give it a go.
Go for it, Star.
My name is Starr. Star Factor is my art name, and Star Russo is my real name. And I am an Indigenous woman. I'm a medicine woman and a healer. I'm a Lomi Lomi massage practitioner. I'm a mother, a wife, and I have three children. New to the NFT space, just came in December, end of December, beginning of January, and just a brief outline of what this collection is about. These characters that I've created are a representation and an expression of inner turmoil that I was going on inside of me back in November, and I'll get into more detail about that later. But essentially, I was on the blink of explosion. They're all one of one pieces of art. They were created back in December during a time when many people in my life were testing my patience. I discovered I was an artist for the first time, and I used it to consciously stay sane and grounded so that I basically didn't completely lose my shit. Creating and sharing art has given my trauma and story a voice. And the ability to sell this art allows me the freedom to stay home and not have to go back to work. I struggle with cognitive and physical setbacks after a car accident 7 years ago. So working isn't necessarily something that comes so easily to me. Um, what else can I say?
Oh, that's good. I mean, we can go into your deep dive,
Yeah,
in
I
a
think
little
I'll leave
bit.
it at
We'll get
that.
all
Yeah,
right.
thank you.
Absolutely. So K and J, quick elevator pitch, and then we'll go back to Star for a deep dive.
Sure, thank you. So I'm K&J. I'm a 14-year-old NFT artist and developer. I have two projects currently in the making right now. One of them is my one of one, which is K&J Robots Co. And the second one is Trench Pets, and they're going to be for a good cause. So it's going to be a community-driven project. And basically, each season will have 5% donated to their respective animals charity and an additional 10% donated to the St. Jude's Foundation because I know what it's like to be stuck in a hospital and what it's like to be bored. So I kind of want to give children the opportunity to kind of get better and keep them happy and fun and entertained. And the reason I'm doing this is because crypto isn't something that's taught in school. I kind of want to pave the way for younger children and people my age, so that way they can get into it before it's too late. And the price of a trench pet is 0.022 ETH for the pre-sale. Is public. You can mint it on various websites, on various wallets. And that's pretty much my elevator pitch.
Awesome. Fantastic. I appreciate that. That is absolutely amazing. So yeah, we'll jump back to Starr here, and let's go into a little bit more detail and a deep dive.
And KJ, why don't you post a tweet of where everybody can find your stuff?
My tweet's up at the top there. I did pin it up to the top.
Okay. Star's got one. KJ, can you want to put one up too?
Well, if he puts one up while I'm talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on. Go ahead, Starr.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. First, I just want to say, I'm happy to be here. I really love the kindness that you guys have extended to my friend Joanna. You've been a very good support to her and her little boy. This is a cause. I don't want to say cause, but yeah, a good cause that I support. Joanna and I are friends in real life, and she really means a lot to me, and so does her little boy. And everyone on the Heroes team has been very kind and supportive, has bought NFTs from Joanna. And I just want to say that out loud. These people are very genuine and care a lot about the community. I also want to say that it doesn't matter to me how many people are in this room right now. What I've learned about life is that, it's quality versus quantity. And, with a smaller space like this, it's actually a little bit less intimidating for me to share. And, I might get a little bit more time to share, which is also nice. And you never know who somebody else knows. So, it only takes one person to spread the word and for that to go somewhere into somebody else's ears. And so I just don't want you to think that I'm sitting here and not seeing value in this space.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I was really trying to think about like how deep did I want to go into my life? I'm gonna say that I'm gonna go back into my childhood just a little bit, just for a moment, because it is kind of relevant to my story later on. And I grew up in an abusive household, a violent home. I was sexually abused. I probably witnessed and experienced a lot of things that nobody should. And, at a young age, there was a couple of things that kept me really sane through that time. One was Raffi and his album called Baby Beluga. And the other was Bob Ross. I must have watched Bob Ross like every day of my life, and over and over. Watching him do those strokes and talk about happy trees, it really just took me outside of my reality and put me into a place. It really helped grow my imagination. And, I unfortunately, I remember being in grade 6 and grade 7 and really wanting to be an artist and loving Japanese art. And I had a couple of really great teachers that were encouraging, but my mom was of the mindset that I needed to get a union job, and I needed to marry a rich man. So and in addition to that, because my home was so volatile, I ran away from home at 13. And so I've been on my own ever since I was 13. I worked 2 jobs. And went to school when I was 13, tried that for a little while, got exhausted, went into foster care for a short period of time, didn't really jive with that, and ended up getting my own place at 15 years old, bought my own car with my own money, worked 2 jobs, went to school, and I've been independent ever since. I had kids young, got pregnant at 18, had a child. And that's when I met Randy, who's actually my current partner. So I'm just going to kind of leave it there and fast forward. My current partner and I have been back together for 18 months after 15 years of separation. And about a year ago, about 8 months, maybe I need to backtrack a little bit more here. No, we're back together after 15 years of separation. And about a year ago, we had an incident that made us realize that there was still some deeper work that we needed to do, and in particularly him. When we split up 20 years ago, we split up because we had a domestic violent relationship, and I needed to leave. I took the kids and I left the relationship, and I started my spiritual journey at that point. I started counseling right away. I went into a 12-step program, and I did a set of steps, and really got to know and build a relationship with spirit, and attended a spiritualist church where I received and then learned how to give energy healing and how to connect with that energy. Um, and my partner, and when we got back together, I think we both just kind of took for granted that, so much time had gone by, and we would both be better. And when this incident happened last April, it was really evident that some more work needed to be done. And my partner quit drinking that day, and has a year clean as of right now, which I'm really proud of. And he's been in counseling every single week. And it's been nice because I moved back, 7 years ago. I had a car accident that left me severely brain injured. I had a business, a yacht care business. I worked on boats. I was bottom painting boats and cut polishing and waxing them. And I had employees. I had a yard. I had boat storage. I was making, I was clearing about $20,000 a month, and I was a woman in a male dominated industry, and I was kicking ass. So when this car accident hit me, it really did a woozy because I lost everything. I lost the ability to care for my children full time. I lost my business. I lost my pets. I lost my home, my license, and with that, my independence, my confidence, and in a nutshell, my identity. I had wrapped myself up in being a mother for 13 years. It was all that I knew. It was everything that made me feel good about who I was. So, and it left me with a brain injury. So it affected my memory, my cognition. And I quickly realized within about a year that I was not going to be able to survive on the mainland, in a city per se. And I moved to a small little island where it was quiet, and just moved like 20 minutes outside of town, surrounded by farms. And just started to kind of, I was basically embarking on a new healing journey at that point. It was pretty bad for a while. I couldn't work. Our system here in Canada is kind of broken. I didn't qualify for disability. I couldn't work. So, welfare was like $500 a month. Housing is shortages. Like, I was standing in line at the homeless shelters for lunch. I just did whatever it took to kind of keep my head afloat. I unfortunately don't have a lot of family. So, my journey's been a little bit longer back to recovery. Once I finally worked myself back and recovered some cognition, because basically what it would be like is, if you were telling me something, it would take me 5 or 10 seconds to process what it was you were telling me, and then another 5 to 10 seconds to try and come up with an adequate response if I didn't forget what you said in the meantime. So it just became awkward. I went from being very social and independent to awkward and social anxiety. So once I was able to work myself back to a place where I could manage living in the city, I wanted to come back and be closer to my children. Um, and in doing that, and starting to rebuild a relationship with them, because, irregardless of whether it didn't really matter what the reason was, I left. And that's tremendously hard on children. And they felt abandoned, even though it was something that was outside of my control. They were really just too young to understand that. So, with building relationship with them, I started to reconnect with my partner. And so, fast forwarding a little bit, here we are, after a year, about 9 months together. And last November, my mom fell ill and went into the hospital. I had cared for her about 12 years ago for about 3.5 years. She had schizophrenia. She went into the psych ward. It was kind of messy. And I worked really hard to get her independent again and on her own. But last November, she started to get sick again, and I went to go be there for her. And bearing in mind, she's not well, and she with brain injury, it was difficult. She was manipulating me a lot at that time. I was having a hard time discerning what was the truth and what wasn't, and it was really affecting my well-being. And my partner actually opened Pandora's box to our past and told me things that I had, forgotten about, and new things that I didn't know about. My uncle passed away, and then I had a dream and remembered an old suppressed assault from my early teens. And my son was giving me a hard time. He was 21, trying to get him out the door independent. So it was just a lot. It had been a really long time since I had started to feel angry. And while I was on the Sunshine Coast, I had this message come to me. Like, I had an overwhelming feeling, like I actually heard the words in my head that weren't from me, but were from me. And the words were, go get charcoal, go get charcoal. And my partner took me to the art store, and I just bought some charcoal. And he went back home, and I just sat with myself, and I just started to create. Spirit just started flowing through my hands, and I started making all these really creepy characters, creepy stuff. And I ended up taking it into my counselor, because I've been in counseling for the last 15 years, once a week, but this new counselor since my car accident, and I brought it in, and I said, you know what, this is what I'm using. It's helping me process some of my issues. And he looked at my work, and he goes, have you ever heard of Beeple? And I was like, who? And he starts telling me about NFTs, and he's telling me that I got something special, and that I should maybe consider putting this up and selling my artwork. And I'm kind of like, what? Because part of what I'm going to counseling for is like trying to find acceptance for where I'm at. And I was really struggling with what I was going to find passion again for, because I couldn't go back to yacht care. I couldn't go back to massage, and I just felt defeated. I didn't want to go work at McDonald's. You know what I mean? And, he kept telling me that, and I started to show people my work a little bit, and they were like, yeah, you got something. And so I decided that I was going to buy an Apple in December. I decided I was going to buy an Apple Pad, and get a Procreate app and start to digitize my charcoal work. I kind of thought that I would put my charcoal work up and just make it colorful and do something fun with it. And then I discovered all the brushes and whatnot, and I just started to fall in love with this Procreate app, and all these characters just started coming out of me. And these boiling point characters are one of the first characters that I started to draw. And it was just, it's me on the brink of explosion. Like I was saying earlier, I'm kind of bubbling and boiling inside. And if you look at the pinned tweet, there's a couple of other characters on there. The one on the top right is actually going to come out later in my collection, after I released a series of the initial heads. And that's a character of me called Exposed. It's me when I've actually kind of blown up. And the character on the left hand side, that's Octo Igor, and that's my partner's shadow character. So I've drawn our shadow characters, and it just sort of helped me to process everything we were going through, because we were fighting a lot. It was really, really, really heavy stuff. And this just really helped keep me grounded. And, I have some other, my PFP is a witch. Just before I go on to that, these boiling point characters, they come as a bundle. So they're 0.1111 each. I choose 11111 because that's the number I've been seeing for the last 15 years. It's something that always, when I see it on the clock, it reminds me that I'm in the right place at the right time, doing the right things. And yeah, so they're 0.1111, and you get 2 NFTs in the bundle. So it's the NFT art, and then you also get a video with my poem written on the screen, and I'm reciting the poem. So you can go there and have a listen to that if you like. And the PFP that I have are my witches, and they were what I was actually originally going to lead with when I came into the space. And what I found is that I'm still living them. They're what they are aspects of the duality that's within myself. So the light and dark aspects to who I am, and they also, my inner witch is somebody who's confident and independent and trusts herself and doesn't care about what anybody else thinks. And these are all things that I've been trying to get back since my car accident. So I'm just not ready to release them because I'm not done living them. But what's really special about them is that my partner has written, like these boiling point characters, there's a poem attached to every single witch. And my partner has written all the poetry to those witches. And then we took it a step further, and I got music made by Flip Studios. He's an NFT music artist, and I did my own indigenous drumming to the music. So those pieces will also have a poem with NFT music that I helped create, and I will be reciting those poems as well. So, purchasing my NFTs, it's going to allow me the freedom to stay home with my family, not have the pressures of working and being in a social environment that doesn't suit me, that causes me a lot of anxiety. And, I'm really hoping to build up these collections to a point that I can start getting secondary sales and build some sort of a residual income, perhaps have, merchandise in the near future and stuff, just to really try and set my children up and my grandchildren up for a better future. I'd love to grace them with that kind of with those kinds of opportunities that I didn't have growing up. So I really appreciate the time getting to share today. I know I've shared a lot. If you have any questions, please come up to speaker and ask. I'm happy to answer anything you like.
That's fantastic. And I'll tell you, I was really wondering where you were going with the backstory, but as you were explaining your NFTs, I think that was definitely necessary,
Thank you. Yeah,
and
it's kind of thank you because I kind of get jammed in about how I should do it, and I appreciate that feedback.
yeah, I mean, when you were going into it, I'm like, well, this is, an amazing life story that it's just not amazing good, but almost like something that you would buy as a book and read about, right?
Right.
Um, and
No, it's not the first time I've heard that.
yeah, and you're telling this story about your life, and I'm listening to it. I'm wondering, well, how is this kind of getting into the NFTs? And I'm thinking, did I explain the space right? but no, that's fantastic. And then when you went into the NFTs, it all makes sense. It's like, wow, yeah, okay, I get it. And I do have questions, but we're gonna wait till after K and J,
Sure.
and we'll let the community come up and ask questions, and I will ask as well, and contribute also. So K and J, the floor is yours, buddy.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this young fella here. This is great.
He's an inspiration at 14.
Right?
Uh,
I heard that and I was like, what is happening right now?
yeah,
He is a very, very well-spoken young man, and we are very thrilled to have him here. Yeah, I am very impressed with his work.
well, there you go. You got a fan right off the bat, K and J.
Oh, I've been following him.
I follow him too.
Thank you. So, I'll just pin something that I recently dropped. I try to drop one every day. Just give me a second. I have two different projects, so if it's okay if I pin another tweet by any chance.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So, yes, I'm Kanji. I'm a 14-year-old NFT artist and developer. Um, One of my projects, which is the one before the most recent pin tweet, is the one that is Kanji Robots. Season 1 just ended. There was a lot of commissions that were done. A lot of people, really liked it, and it had generally a well reception with a lot of people. Since they are one of ones, they were lazy minted, but it was just something that I like to do based off of my favorite game, which is Five Nights at Freddy's, and that is something that has been a part of my childhood since the first game came out. So that was pretty much my inspiration. I started K&J Robots in this early January, I could say late December, early January, because that's when I got my iPad and I first started doing NFTs. And it was just a new way for me to show people my art and what I'm capable of. And it's just recently that I got into 3D sculpting, and it's a really fun experience for me. So that's something that I love doing. 3D is fun. I do plan into expanding into animating in the future, and kind of getting some more skills to learn. The second project, which is Trench Pets, I coded the smart contract for that, and I also coded the art generator to create the generative art projects. So Trench Pets is a generative project, and it's gonna have sub collections to it. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of Gutter Gang with Gutter Cat Gang and Gutter Pigeons. That was kind of like the route that I was taking. Like each animal was gonna have its own collection. And right now we're in phase one, season one. It is my first time coding a smart contract. So the utilities will come down the way. All that stuff will come down the way with more profits. But as of now, it's more of like a donation based thing. And the reason I'm doing this is because I love animals. Animals are something that I've always loved since I was a child. I've been begging my parents for a dog, and I have had one for at least 2 or 3 years right now. So animals are something that have a special place in my heart, and each season will be determined by the community. So the first season was a horse, because the reason I chose a horse is because not many people do horses, and horse races are something that could take a toll on a horse's life. So if a horse breaks its leg, as many of you know, it will get shot. Sometimes horses are kidnapped, and to get like their sperm, and sometimes to fertilize other eggs so they can make money off of it. So I kind of want to put a stop to that. And the first place that I'm going to plan to donate to is the Ecos Foundation, and the other 10% is going to go to the St. Jude's Foundation. And the reason I chose St. Jude's is because when I was 11 years old, I was diagnosed with a chronic illness called ulcerative colitis. And for those who don't know what that is, basically what it is the inflammation of the colon. And last year, that has taken a toll on me very intensely. I lost 20 pounds in 1 month. I was extremely close to losing my colon, but one thing that I had always next to me was my notebook, or my sketchbook. And I would always draw whenever I was getting the infusions, or whenever there's like something, like the doctors are coming in, they're talking to my parents. It was just something that I would use to cope and to get by. And that art has just been a special place for me, and it has impacted my life more ever since that diagnosis. So that is my project. There are various ways to mint a trench pet. You could use it with your Coinbase wallet, your Trust wallet, and your MetaMask wallet, and some more wallets. It's pinned up above. It's like the most recent tweet. And the website that you want to go to is trenchpets.com. Pets with a Z. And it would mean a lot to me if you check it out. It's about like $50-ish as of right now. So thank you. I really appreciate it. Reveal will happen sometime soon after the public mint. Thank you.
Awesome, buddy. I totally appreciate that. And, art has always been a passion of mine, as well as Megan. We actually met in art school.
Yes, we did.
So, I went to school to be a secondary art teacher, and my wife is a graphic artist by trade. So we both have extensive art backgrounds, and I appreciate both of your projects. It's absolutely fantastic. um I'll just share a little bit about Heroes and our NFTs, and we'll go on to opening it up for the community to ask any questions that they see fit. And I do have questions for both of you, by the way, so be ready. But yeah, so our series one NFTs, I'm a bit of an artist myself, but I didn't want to take on that endeavor for the project. So we commissioned three separate artists that produced our series one NFTs. And, the idea there was, like I said before, is to implement them in a play to earn slash play to give game. That game development has been kind of stalled out because of market conditions and trading volume, but it is our ultimate goal is to have that happen and be something for the future. But regardless, the NFTs themselves, are very unique. They're 3D renditions created by artists all around the world. One of them is, very much like, well, I can't say it's like either of you, but he's a 17-year-old gentleman out of Nigeria that just was able to create these just awesome pieces. And actually, I think it's one of our most popular pieces is Radiant. And it's fantastic. But if you own one, you can always go into OpenSea and look in the lockable content and get all his information that you can reach out and maybe he can create something custom just for you. One of the things that we wanted to do as Heroes is we wanted to have I guess you could call it a universe of artist collective where we commission different artists to come in and create series for us. Meanwhile, we promote them by giving them their own landing page, promoting the work that they've done for Heroes, and then just throwing them as much support as we can. Now, we do have an onboard NFT artist. His name is Chad, and he created our Series 2 NFTs, which are all ready to go. We just haven't, dropped them yet. We're waiting for the right time to do that. But we have some plans that are coming with those. But going back to what Heroes stands for is, every portion of our project goes to charity, whether it's, buying or selling our token, or it is buying an NFT, or it's buying some of our merch from our merch store. Whatever it is, if it's merch or an NFT, 20% of that goes to our charity wallet where the community decides where those funds go. We did a joint effort with MediToken over the last week where we combined forces with their community and we are donating 1 ETH to the community polled charity, which in this instance, it was the Ronald McDonald House. So that's kind of what we're all about. Today, we've donated over $45,000, and I should say actually $47,000 to charities. We're aiming for that $50,000 mark. And, we feel like this space should be, especially with crypto, but, even with NFTs, should be more of a support system rather than an us versus them system. And any way that, we can support another project that is doing good things, that has a good backing behind it, that has a fantastic story like both of you guys, and, are ultimately trying to make a difference. And that difference could be anything from, leaving a legacy for your future generations that are, you're leaving behind when, we all get old and move on. Or, if it's, creating something that is a platform that you can actually are able to donate to different projects and share that wealth, worldwide, while creating, unique pieces of art. So, that's kind of what Heroes is all about. That's what we like all the just joint efforts that we've seen over the last, I don't know, 2 months. And it's just been amazing. We've been trying to do this since we launched in November, and November was definitely an us versus them time frame. But I think with all the fantastic projects that we've, been able to come in contact with and, work with and, have just share with our communities, I think we're making a difference in this space, and you guys for being here tonight, I think are doing exactly that as well. So with that, I'm going to open up the floor to questions. If you have any questions, I do see Jonah's World's in here. I want to send a shout out to Jonah. and love what you guys are doing. And it must be something with you Canadians because the story that Starr has and the story that you guys have, where you're faced with all this adversity and you guys just overcome it with your own means. I mean, that is amazing. And also, I mean, not to put you on the sidelines, KJ, but I just it's fantastic what you guys are doing, all of you. So shout out to Jonah's World. If you haven't seen their NFTs, please check them out. But let's start with this. I have a question for you, Jonah. You said you have always resorted to drawing in a sketch pad, as a way to cope with what you're dealing with. At what point did you start doing digital work?
Sorry, who was that question for?
Starr.
That was for Jonah, or I'm sorry, K and J.
Yeah, no, you know what?
It's been a long day.
I only started doing charcoal for the very first time just last November 2021. And it was in December that I first started doing digital work for the very first time in my life. I had never done digital art prior to that. So I've been self-taught and everything that I have done up till now. I actually did a lot of my art without knowing how to do layers. So I had to go back and redo some. A couple of those, the two pieces in there, the two shadow characters, they are not done with any layers. And it took me hours upon hours upon hours. And they are just the way they are. I don't think I could recreate that if I tried. I'm not sure. Maybe I could. I haven't tried yet. But yeah, new artist as of December. And what was kind of neat, which I didn't touch on or say anything about before, is what coming into this community has done, aside from giving me confidence and helping giving my trauma and story a voice. It's also helped me to have happy childhood memories. So, like for instance, I've had I had those memories of the Japanese art that I used to love. I had memories of these blocks that I used to play with in kindergarten that were geometrically shaped, and I used to create images out of them, and just little stories and glimpse into my past that give me joy that I had forgotten about. And so that's also really special for me. But one of those things was in grade 6. I remember going to computer class and it was like old dial-up computers. It was like epically slow. I think they were like Dell computers or something. And I remember back then there being a drawing program and doing pixel by pixel and like blowing the screen up and putting a pixel in and then putting it back. And I was so interested in that, and I forgot all about it until I started to get going this year. So thanks for asking that question. I hope that answers it.
Absolutely. And actually, I want to ask K and J the same question.
Yeah, I started kind of drawing on digital, like on the digital iPad this year, really. I think like late December or something like that. But I have been drawing since I was at least 11 or well, I took drawing seriously at 11 years old. But I've been drawing for longer than that. That like 11 years old is when I actually started taking drawing seriously.
But so when did you actually start doing it digitally? At what point was that? Just back in January?
Yes, that was back in January that I started doing it digitally.
And
Okay.
the same thing with the 3D renders. When did you start doing that?
So the 3D renders, I actually I could say about a month or two ago I actually started doing it. And I felt like I've progressed and gotten better. I kind of did a revamp of the body for the 3D. So before I even released it, I actually redid most of my stock, and that was just like something that I enjoy doing. I love doing 3D sculpting. It's something that is very fun to me.
What program are you using to do? Are you using the iPad to do your 3D rendering?
Yes, I'm using the iPad. I use Nomad Sculpt.
Okay.
Wow, nice.
I am seriously impressed. You are extremely talented young man. I work with designers every day, and takes them a lot longer to learn things. And I am seriously blown away by your talent.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Nice. So anyone want to come up and ask a question? It can be any question. Like, what your favorite food is, or no, I'm just kidding. Well, I'm going to keep asking. If no one's going to come up and ask questions, I'm going to keep asking some questions. So, Starr, I'm guessing you're West Coast Canada. Is that right?
Yeah, we're West Coast Canada. I live about 20 minutes outside of Vancouver, BC.
Okay, because Vancouver is actually beautiful. Megan and I visited there. Uh, we stayed. What? It was our honeymoon, but
How many years? I'm giving him the look. How many years ago?
22, 21,
Good job.
21
Oh
and a half.
boy.
But anyway, one of the things that, there was a lot of totems and,
Yes.
just native artwork around.
Yep.
And I see a little bit of that in your NFTs. Is there any influence there?
Well, I'm Indigenous. I am a Métis woman. You know, I think like the black, red, and white really comes, if I'm going to be honest, I mean, yeah, I would say there maybe is a small influence in the color choices, but really that goes back to my fondness of Japanese art when I was like 6. And that just kind of came out by accident. And actually I didn't even really realize, see, when I was creating these characters, I wasn't really thinking, like I didn't do them with an intention. I just was started to create, and then it just started to happen and evolve. And that was similar with the colors. And just interestingly enough, I just kind of kept going to that, these three basic colors. But I do have some other work that it's a little bit more colorful as well. um but you see, I have, like, if you look at, nah, I don't have it on my link tree in my profile there, but I do have some indigenous witches that I've drawn. I've also got like an Indigi girl character that's going to come out at some point, that has, she's wearing a shawl, and it's very much inspired from my indigenous background. I only found out that I was indigenous about, like, for real, about 3 years ago. I Funny enough, I worked with a shaman about 12, 13 years ago, and he had told me, he said, you know what, you really need to look into your past. You have indigenous in you. He's like, I'm sure of it, you're Métis. And I just started to believe that, and I believed it so much that I wrote down, when my children went to school, I ticked that little box off that my children were Métis. And even though I didn't really know, and I never done any history check, I just wanted to expose them to the culture, because I always knew that I would look into it one day, and I just had a feeling. And then I connected with a great aunt on my dad's side of the family 3 years ago that brought that confirmed that for me. And my family was Italian Catholics. So I don't know what everybody's education is about Indigenous history, but you know, in the early days, in not that long ago, really, if you were a half breed or a Métis, you didn't fit in on either side of the tracks. You were outcasted from both reservations, and 100% Indigenous people, and white people. So we just kept our connection to the Indigenous quiet. Our family did, and therefore I didn't get to grow up with that knowledge. So it's something that I tried to participate in. I dated a chief, a hereditary chief, and an elected chief for about 3 years, and I got to experience lots of different ceremonies and going into longhouses, and done sweat lodge and peyote ceremonies, and learned how to mix medicines. And yeah, so yeah, it flows through me. So yes, it is in my art. Yeah.
Yeah, I just, I was taking a look and I'm like, that just resembles just a lot of the type of art that we saw when we were there. And, actually, I have to dig it out, but I do have a book that I bought that, I even did, some of it myself, and, not like that, but more like, the traditional type of artwork. And, I always like exploring with different mediums and different types of things. Um, but no, that's fantastic. I really like those. Those are really neat. Uh,
Thank you.
they're clean. They're just it just kind of it draws you in,
Thank you.
which is really nice.
Yeah, one thing
Um,
I'm not really good at talking about is sort of like how I'm phasing out my collection. I was listening to K and J, and I hear people in spaces all the time, and they're really good at describing about how their collections are going to get rolled out, right? Because you're trying to entice uh, collectors and whatnot. My intention, I got two listed right now. I've got 10 prepared, and I intend to release some more after that as well, but I'm releasing them two at a time, and I'm just going to slowly increase the floor price every two that I release. So hopefully that anybody who does decide to buy into my collection and support my art will eventually be able to flip that and hopefully turn around and make a profit as well.
no, that's awesome, and it's kind of crazy, but the artists that are most well known, they're not really make that status until well beyond their years, right? And this is a way that you can get out there, you can share your story, share your
Yes.
background, and this applies to both of you because you both have very unique stories that, really only apply to each of you, right?
Mhm.
And how you put that into your artwork and you display that on an NFT and having it limited like you are, makes it very unique and it puts it out there for everyone. I would encourage anybody in here to go take a look at both of their projects. Uh, you know, buy it if you like it. I think they're both fantastic. Absolutely.
Thank
So,
you.
is anyone going to come up and ask a question, or do I got to get Heroes Queen here to ask a question?
Oh my goodness, look at these chickens.
She she's she's giving me a look.
Yeah, if anybody that anyone that's new, most of our community all know. You see my uh, what do you call it? PFP is there, but we were literally sitting next to each other. So yeah, I don't turn on my mic and I just sit next to him and steal his.
Sure. Yeah, that works. Um,
Uh, so, did you guys have any questions for each other,
um, yeah, good.
or for me? I mean, it.
Yeah, I'm still learning about crypto. I've only bought into a couple of projects. I don't currently hold any heroes tokens. But I tell this to other projects, if anybody does I purchase an NFT from me, then I do like to reinvest at least half of that back into the same project that has purchased a piece of art from me. I do that with Mint Marketplace. It's kind of a nice relationship. Um, yeah, I'd love to learn more about your project. I came in, I've listened, but to be honest, like you did a brief explanation, but it'd be nice to hear you share a little bit more again about your plan, emotion.
Yeah, so I wanted to focus mainly on NFTs for our project. That's why I didn't go into all the details because I could probably take up 2 hours talking
Right.
about all that Heroes does. But essentially, the very short version is we saw a space well we saw a gap in the space of cryptocurrency where there were some charitable tokens out there, but they were all centrally focused on one type of charity. It was either the Humane League or it was like Save the Children or whatever, but they were focused on just donating to one. And what we felt was needed was something that was more broadband, that was more worldwide, that, the community that we have gets to decide where those funds go that the project accumulates. Now, when we launched, we didn't have all the utility and the NFTs or anything like that or the merch. It was just a token, and it brought such a just it seemed like it was something that the space was missing because of the volume that we had come into our project and the passion that people had at the time. And, since then, a lot of charitable tokens, came out and they
Yeah.
launched, and, there's a boatload out. But, the cool thing about us is we're not focused on anyone. We find that it's best to leave the community to the side, because what if, we are focused on just one, but then, like what's going on in the Ukraine, right?
Yep.
If that is something that our community is passionate about and they want to see funds get sent there, well, they can vote for that,
I
right?
love
They're
that.
not,
Yeah.
so it's not limiting us to anything, but it's actually broadening our reach to be worldwide. The one donation that really stands out a lot to me that we have done is for SOS Children's Villages.
Mm.
Our donation to them, actually, they reached out and they shared with us that actually fed and clothed 10 children for an entire year worldwide, right?
Wow.
So, that's the type of thing that we like to do and that we feel passionate about. And we feel that there's plenty of extra to do this. And, plus we've added other utilities for people that are not passionate about charitable donations and that, are looking to just get it into something that will help them financially, right? So, we've implemented utilities along those lines as well, which, I'll save those for another day. But yeah, our project has been adding from the time we started, and we have not stopped, and we're continuing to add. And yeah, so check out our website, hero-universe.com. Read our white paper. It took me forever to write the damn thing, but it is 27 pages long.
No, I cut it down to 25.
25 pages. And it is everything and anything that we are currently about. And what I mean by currently is we are always working to make the project better and to come up with new utility that will add value to our project. And the best part about it is no matter what we do that draws in other people, the byproduct of that is us being able to donate to charities worldwide. So that is kind of the short and sweet, and I can keep going, but I'm not going to because I don't want to steal the limelight from either of your projects.
No, I
But
love it.
Joanna's got her hand up.
but I see Joanna. How you doing?
Hey guys, I couldn't come in this space without coming up to appreciate everything that you all have done for Jonah and our family. And I love that you brought Starr on tonight. And I want to appreciate Starr and K and J for sharing your stories. It was beautiful. Um, and I have a question for you both, if that's cool.
Absolutely.
All right. So I'm curious to know what you would say you take inspiration from, whether it be people in your life or other artists or music. What would you say inspires your work?
Oh, that's such a good question. Leonard Cohen. So, with my witches specifically, if you go to uh, my profile, I have a quote there, and it's my own little poem that I put to my witches, and it says, "I am the witch, I am the healer, I am the bitch, I am the dealer." And Leonard Cohen has this song, or a written poem in a song form called "You Want It Darker." And it's a song that I listened to a lot while I was creating this work. So there's actually um, specific songs for each individual piece that I've created. I listen to a lot of music. So if, you know, yeah, inspirationally music and just life experience and current circumstances and situations. But definitely music is where I draw a lot of my inspiration from. Music is my medicine and it's my love language. It is what lyrics have literally strung together my whole entire life as a soundtrack. So thanks.
Awesome. K and J?
My inspiration for my art is Five Nights at Freddy's. One thing that I've done when I first started drawing these characters on my sketchbook, I would never draw the characters from the actual story itself, but I would always take the inspiration and make my own original characters. And it was kind of a way to get over my fears, and it was something that I've loved doing. And that I could say is my inspiration, and my parents are my inspiration because not like they don't tell me to just, oh, your art is great, or oh, you've done great. They give criticism, that like they give constructive criticism, but at the same time they say it in a way that's not harmful, and that has led me to getting into a greater skill and a greater path in my art.
Great question,
Awesome.
Joanne. That's awesome. KJ, you're brilliant. I am just blown away by your confidence, how fast you've learned, your willingness to show up here. It sounds like you're just, I don't know, you got an old soul. I was just like you when I was 13, 14 years old. I was looking for the next thing. I was taking care of myself. I was on my way to bigger and better things. I am just so excited for your future. I followed you back. I'm going to share your stuff. Please let me know when you're dropping more items.
Thank you. I plan to drop every day. I'm actually planning to expand into more platforms like Foundation. I'm still finding various ways to get into the app because it's an invite only app. But
Mm,
that is something that I would love to do in the future.
okay, cool.
Yeah. Starr, are you on Foundation?
I am on Foundation. I actually
Nice.
have a different piece up on Foundation. If it's okay, I'll share about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, because it's totally different. So I just pinned her up to the top. This is Ruby. This is an art doll collection that I've done in collaboration with an in real life friend who's an artist, a very established artist, a world traveler. Um, and back when I had moved away from my children, went to that little island to get well with a brain injury. One of the unfortunate things that happened to me during that time was I was using cannabis as a means to deal with my social anxiety and to manage the pain I had from back surgery. And unfortunately, I wasn't in a position to be able to afford it from the dispensaries, and so I accessed it through a couple alternative people, and I managed landing myself in the psych ward. I had meth laced inside of my marijuana, and I went into a psychosis. Now, I'd mentioned that earlier in my life, I had gone to a program and done a set of steps. And, I done a lot of counseling. I currently drink in my life now. It's not a problem for me. I did all the hard work and really healed from a lot of my past. But what I did when I was on the Sunshine Coast is I was trying to make community and make friends. And I wanted to make friends with people that were moving in a forward direction in their life, that had, wanted to live their lives honestly. And I thought, I'm going to go to an AA meeting in town, even though I'm not an alcoholic. I'm just going to go and I'm going to go meet some people. I've met some really great people in the rooms. And I met this lady there, Gigi. And when I landed in the hospital, I had only had her phone number. We hadn't hung out yet. And I don't know, I just called her. I called her crying. I was in there. I was misunderstood. They weren't believing me that they were treating me like I was a full blown drug addict. And I had all these mental health problems, and they just didn't know me in that community. And she ended up coming and taking me for forest walks every single day that I was in the hospital. And we just started to develop a friendship. And eventually, as I got to know her, I got to understand that she was an artist, and I got to go out to her place in Half Moon Bay. And she's got this beautiful property. Bears come to her property. She's got hummingbird feeders everywhere. She grows dahlias. She's a vegan. She makes all her food from scratch. She keeps bees. She's the most beautiful spirit in the world. She's got this tremendous art gallery, and all of her art is like plastered all over the Sunshine Coast, and it's up in art galleries and different retreat centers all over the West Coast here. But she has no interest in coming to Twitterland. And when I saw these dolls, she makes them in real life. They just reminded me I don't know, they just gave me like a happy, familiar feeling. And I bought one from her, just because I loved her and I wanted to support her. And a few months back, she was telling me how she was feeling down. She wasn't really doing much art anymore. COVID really put a damper. Nobody was coming to her gallery. I think it just took a toll on her. And, I wanted to give back to her the way she was given to me. And I wanted to re-inspire her. So I went up there and I took a camera and I took so many photos, so many different angles, different lighting, different backgrounds. And then, put them into my Procreate and made them how I wanted with her permission. And we've done this collab together. And now I put them up about 72 hours ago. I put the first one up for auction, and Marlin NFTs is a really well-known artist, bought the first one for point zero 0.07, and then I put the next one up for point 0.11, and it got picked up by Seeking Susan, and so now this is the third one, and she's point 0.12. It's Ruby, and you can read about Ruby. Ruby runs before flying, and she's got her wings ready to go, and even has a handle on her head just in case she gets tired mid-flight and needs to be guided back to Earth. Careful, those shoes are made for tripping rather than running. Take flight. And this was written by Gigi. So the plan for this is that I'm kind of rolling out the heads, and then I'm going to roll out images of the full body. Probably put dolls together in different pictures. We're just going to keep the collection going, and then at some point in time down the road, do some sort of contest or whatnot to put the actual dolls up for auction or sale themselves. Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool.
yeah, they're really neat, man. Me and Joanna were like, "What does this remind us of?" She's like, "Oh,
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood."
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
The little
what was
puppets, the
what was the
creepy puppets.
puppet's name? Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah,
It's
seriously,
really
that
cool.
the second doll sold out in like 35 minutes, I think. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm surprised Ruby is still standing because
I
she's
kind of am
amazing.
too, actually.
Yeah.
Definitely, Marlon went and he put it up for 0.25 right away. And, this is a collection that's definitely going to grow and expand. It's definitely unique and fun and quirky, just like me. And now, my girlfriend, she messaged me and she was like, "Oh my God, I think I need to make more dolls." I'm like, "Yes,
Yes, you do.
mission
She's
accomplished."
amazing.
And I'm going up there next week, and I think I'm going to get my hands dirty and make one too. So I'm kind of excited about that.
That's awesome. And I also have to say, please tell me you started writing your own book, right? About your life
I'm
story.
writing it
She
right now.
should.
Because
Absolutely. You
because
should be
my
working on it
gosh,
right now. I
I'm
know.
like, dude, if that were a book, I would read it, and if it became a movie, I would definitely go see it. I
It's
mean,
it's really not outside the realm of possibilities. I've actually talked with a couple of different people that have thought about me maybe making my partner and I story into some sort of a documentary. It's definitely not outside the realm of possibility. I think I want to do children's books, though, to be quite honest with you. I think that my story will eventually come out that way, but I kind of have a vision for these witches to become dolls, like be a doll collection.
It could be a children's story that's like about your childhood,
Well,
like told.
yeah.
So, maybe not. Maybe that's a terrible idea.
You know what?
Just a
There's
thought.
ways to put that. There are ways to articulate that. Like I'll tell you a little like I was sexually abused as a child, and how I figured that out was in grade 1. We had this program that came in with puppets, and it just talked about like good touching and bad touching, right? And I think that things like that can be really you can try and find a way to share stories in a childlike way that can maybe inspire people to think about what their life and what's going on, and if what's going on is good or bad kind of thing. What's really neat is that when those foster parents that I had later on in life, believe it or not, her best friend, Rhonda, I actually got to meet her at a family reunion, was the woman who created the program that saved my life when I was in grade 1. It was wild to me to think that something like that came around full circle. So it'd be so cool to be able to provide that for other children as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I see Jess came up. Jess, do you have any questions? Maybe.
The ghost of Jessica.
The ghost of Jessica.
She could be putting her, well, no, her little one should be way in bed by now.
All right. So I guess let's go to K and J. What made you want to start writing your own contract for your NFTs?
Sorry about that. So, I started writing my own contract. I could say about the end of last month, the start of this month. So, around like a month really. And it was a new. I had some coding knowledge before, because that was something that was regularly taught in my school, and it still is. But I did not know how to code in Solidity, so I did go through a few YouTube videos. I compiled all the information on that, and I ended up getting a verified contract on Etherscan for trench pets. So it did take a lot of time. It took multiple days of coding. One funny story actually, my parents told me to go to sleep because I was just coding for a good like 3-4 hours straight. So I went to sleep. I pretended I went to sleep. I went upstairs and I did my rounds. I said good night. And after I snuck downstairs, I got my computer and I went up to go coding instead. Like I took it into my room, and that's when I realized that it was like 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. That's like the time that my parents usually get up and go to work. So I kind of panicked when I heard my dad opening the door. I dropped the cable and I said it was my phone. And then after the cable, I have a gaming computer, so the cable is really large for it. And my dad was like, "That's not your phone." And then after I kind of got busted with it, and I had to tell my mom, the explanation of it. She said that it was that she accepted my apology, but it was more for my health because sleep is something that I do need for my illness to get better. But yeah, I did sneak so I could finish it, and there's a lot of cool functions in it right now. There's like whitelist, pre-sale, and public sale, and the reveal functions as of now. So there's some really cool things for it.
That's awesome. And that is something that you will definitely need moving forward, especially in this space, is having that knowledge to do that on your own is going to be key. And
Protects him. That's security.
Yeah.
He knows everything that goes in and out of it.
Yep.
That is.
Yeah, it's wild, his knowledge, hey?
Yeah, without a doubt.
KJ, I have an autoimmune deficiency. I have an inflammatory condition as well, that I was diagnosed with about 13 years ago. And it became very debilitating in my life. And I'm going to share something with you because I just want you to keep this in the back of your mind, and your mom's going to love me for it. and how it was that I personally got my autoimmune deficiency, and I'm not saying this is anything to do with you, but it's definitely something to think about with your own health. I valued myself based on how much I did for other people, and so I took on a lot. I had kids in school full time, a full time daycare, side businesses, looking after my mom, partner, cleaning house. I was just doing and doing and doing, and I was go 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 all the time, and I didn't stop. I didn't stop to take care of myself, and I believe that I manifested an illness because I took on way too much than I could handle, and I didn't understand what it was to find balance or take care of myself. And once I understood to do that, and to take time out, I started to heal, and I no longer am bound by the symptoms I used to have of my illness. I've learned to control that through changing my thoughts and lots of self care and breathing and taking time out. So just as you grow, you're going to get, it's going to be a lot more demands on you. So just be mindful.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, we'll try Jess again. Jessica, would you like to ask a question? I don't know. I think she's stuck in the blockchain. So, well, I'll
She's
do.
just sitting there pretty.
Yeah, I think so. Uh, so we've been going for about an hour and 15 minutes. So it would either of you guys like to add anything before we give our closing statements?
Uh, just say thank you again one more time. And if you get a chance, I said this before, Jonah came in the world, but came in the room, but Jonah came in the world. That's awesome. Please go check out her OpenSea. There's lots of really affordable pieces in their collection. You know, all the money goes towards helping support their family and get their son the therapies that they need. So, you know, if you got a couple extra bucks go kicking around, now's the time to go do that. And yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you for coming on this space and sharing your story and your NFTs. I think they're awesome. Both series that you have out, the dolls as well as I can't think of
They're boilerly
what
point collections. I don't know. I don't
the
even know what
boiling
to
point.
call them. They're just like my chicks. They're like,
Yeah, yeah, but
Your girls.
my girls.
Yeah,
They're
everyone,
my
please
girls.
go share and try and share that art doll because we want to get Ruby a new home. She's phenomenal. So everyone share.
yep. Everyone
That's all it
tweet.
takes.
Ruby
That's all
needs
it
a new
takes.
home.
Yeah.
K and J, any last thoughts or anything before?
Yes. I just want to tell people that it's never too late to have a great day. It's never too late to prosper and to move forward. There's still a chance. As long as you're still alive, you still have a chance to make your life a great one. So, thank you for doing this space. Thank you for giving us the spotlight. I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.
Oh my goodness, you just blow my mind.
So professional, right?
He's
Wow.
14, right? Can we
Your
confirm that he's
parents,
14?
yeah, he's 14. Our son is
Okay.
17. Seriously,
My
every
son,
time I'm in a room that he's in, I am blown away by his professionalism,
Right?
the things that he has taught himself how to
yeah,
do.
yeah.
I am
Yeah.
46 years old and I can't learn that quickly.
I
Like,
feel
I
you.
am in
I feel
awe,
you.
totally in awe of him.
It took me about 3 years to learn a 3D program, and this 14-year-old genius
Did
is
2 months.
doing it in like a month. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're amazing.
These young minds are teaching coding from like 6 years and up. So
No, it's absolutely fantastic. We love all your projects. K and J, love what you do. Star Factor, I really like what you're doing for the space, and I love your NFTs. And that Jonah's World is popped up here, and I can't say enough about the work that Jonah puts out there, and I know it is his artwork, and the amazing thing is that you're putting it out there for people to get. So yeah, I just appreciate all of you for joining the space and sharing your projects. And we do this every Thursday night at 9 o'clock. We normally have crypto projects on, but feel free to stop in and share and ask questions, because that's what we have these spaces, is so that we can learn, that a 14-year-old's doing it better than we are. Nah, but
Yeah, no,
he's on it, right?
really talented young man.
Yeah, like talk about a bright future, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I,
it's
I can't
amazing.
say enough.
Yeah.
But no, both of your projects are fantastic. Check the pinned tweets up top. Make sure you go and check out their collections, because they both have something that I think is you'd want to have in your wallet, in your collection. I think they're fantastic, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what both projects do going down the road, and what you guys come out with. I'm excited,
Me too.
but
Me too.
yeah,
Okay, and if I can say one more thing, I just want to
absolutely.
let everybody know that Star's out in the community, co-hosting spaces multiple times a week. So if you ever see her in a space, jump in there. She's wonderful. She's doing an amazing job hosting these spaces and building community and connecting people.
Thank you, Joanna.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you haven't followed anybody up here as a speaker yet, please do. Actually, you should follow everyone in the space. I mean, I think, the more that we can spread all these great projects, the better it's going to be. And again, I want to thank you guys for coming on. I know with the week that we've had, it's just been chaotic in this space, and I appreciate you both for taking the time to join us.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you for having us up here. It means a lot to us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you both. All right, guys. Well, until next Thursday, we will chat then.
All right.
We'll be around. Yep. See ya.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.